What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. So the pre-orders for the new Lenovo Legion Go S models, there's 3 new models, have dropped over on Best Buy. I can't see them releasing anywhere else yet. I've looked on a few other sites and haven't seen them, and it looks like they're targeting a May 25th release, at least for me here so far on the Best Buy site. That could always change, but we'll take a look. I've definitely been waiting for the SteamOS versions of this device because the original Legion Go S I reviewed in February just was not that great with the Windows version for the price to performance with that Z2 Go. So I have been interested to check out these models. So now these are up for pre-order, we can see the actual price and the specs, and I can kind of decide which one I want to pre-order here for content and all of that. So let's go ahead and get into it. All right, so like I said, Best Buy has this up for me here on the East Coast in the States. I haven't seen it anywhere else. They've even got their banners up here, Lenovo Legion Go S SteamOS, and they have the pre-order links and release date Sunday, May 25th, 2025. So we'll see how that pans out and sticks that way. But they've got 3 more models being added to their original $730 Windows model here. And this is going to be an $830 Z1 Extreme model, a $750 SteamOS model with the Z1 Extreme, and a $550 SteamOS model with the Z2 Go. So we'll talk about this a little bit more and a little bit closer look here and what I think about these and where they're gonna fall, because I still think Lenovo's got some interesting pricing. But let's go ahead and get in and take a closer look at these kind of like side by side here. All right, so this is probably the model I'm going to wind up pre-ordering after I'm done making this video. It's the Z1 Extreme version, SteamOS, 32 gigabytes of RAM and a terabyte SSD in this new nebula or purplish kind of dark color for SteamOS. Now, originally this wasn't my plan. If we come down here and look at these more side by side so we can get a better idea of what we're looking at, I was originally going to go with the Z2 Go version of this because it was supposed to be $499, making it a really budget-friendly device. But it's $50 more than that. So we'll talk about price a little bit more. But because of how rough the Z2 Go was over on the Windows model and how I know it's not that much better than the Steam Deck chip, and it's definitely older architecture than, you know, the Z1 Extreme and that type of thing. I'm just not so sure about that now, even with SteamOS here and for the price, which is why I might be leaning to pre-order the $750 version. But anyways, looking at these a little closer, I ultimately feel like all of these came in a bit too expensive. And I know it's difficult when you're kind of bringing out a product stack like this where you've got so many like multiple SKUs, and they've got at least 1 or 2 more this year with the Go 2 that are going to be coming out. It's a lot to try to find a range of pricing that's going to work. But I always felt like from the original they were too high, and I thought that we'd be looking at $499 for the SteamOS device here, $699 for this device. The Windows devices just fall into a weird place, and I think maybe they're part of the reason for some of the pricing. But how would I recommend a Z2 Go with Windows, knowing how that reviewed and how I reviewed it, when for, you know, not even looking at other devices that are available, just sticking with Lenovo, when for $20 more, you can get a Z1 Extreme SteamOS version. Now, I realize SteamOS has its own certain drawbacks, and if there are certain games that you play that don't work on SteamOS, that's just the way that it is. But I think for a majority of people, it would be fine, and they would actually prefer the SteamOS experience, the console-like experience there, with a Z1 Extreme, which is going to massively outperform and get better battery life than the Z2 Go. So that's just a very interesting one. The $550 model with 16 gigabytes of RAM and 512, I really thought $499 on this would be the more budget-friendly area. $549 is getting up a little bit considering what I know the performance is going to be like for the Z2 Go, even on SteamOS, and we've seen all the Bayesight videos and stuff as well. It's a little better than the Steam Deck ultimately. But it just feels kind of high to me for what we're looking at here and for the difference. I really expected this to come in more like $699. And again, I know we're only talking about $50, but in the PC world, when you're talking GPUs, PC parts, price to performance and all that, dollar per FPS and all that stuff, every $50 makes a difference. So yeah, I just find it interesting. And this also tells me like we got $830 here for the Z1 Extreme model of the Z2 Go right here, right? So this is going to perform a heck of a lot better and get better battery life than the Z2 Go did. But for that price, we're $70 away from MSI Claw 8, which I know are hard to get, but they do keep coming in stock in Amazon and on the MSI store. I've had 4 friends grab them this past month. I know they're hard to get, but they are coming in stock. But for $70 more, the performance is better than the Z1 Extreme, and I personally am still loving my MSI Claw 8, and it's my daily kind of, I grab it up the game when I'm not making content. And there are other devices coming out this year that are going to fall pretty well, and their own older devices with Z1 Extremes, granted not the same amount of RAM, but they perform pretty well still, and you can often get them for a really good price. And that's if we're just talking about Lenovo. There's, of course, other companies, sales, existing devices, and new ones coming out. So I don't know. I just feel like all of these still continue to fall into a weird price point for me, but I get kind of why it's there. But for me, all this stuff is like $50 higher than where it should be ish, 50 to 80, just in my opinion on these. And of course, that's telling us, and I've already said this plenty of times, expect the Legion Go 2 to be $1,000 to $1,200 when it comes out. That's thoroughly what I'm expecting, which is going to make it quite expensive, way over what I consider $300 to $500 mainstream pricing for handhelds, where I think you get millions of customers potentially, not hundreds of thousands. Once you go over that $500-$600 range, it continues to become more niche, more niche, more niche for how many people are going to buy it. The original Legion Go, I think I got mine for $700 for the model I had gotten. So we're probably looking at $300 to $500 more for its successor. So that's going to be interesting to see later this year as well. It's definitely for sure that all the handhelds that have been releasing since January are just in general more expensive than what we were seeing as they were gearing up in 2023, 2024, and all of that. And we've got a ways to go before we get to 26, 27, and 2028, where I think handhelds are really going to get to a much better place when it comes to the performance that people want. And I actually think we'll see prices come back down a little bit again later. But I think 2025 is going to be an expensive year for handhelds. So just kind of be ready for that. It just kind of looks like the way that it is. Anyways, guys, just some quick opinions on some of this stuff from me. It's just a drop here on Best Buy for these pre-orders, but it gave me the exact pricing and release date of May 25th and the stuff that we can look forward to here. And again, I was originally going to get the $499 SteamOS budget-friendly model, see how the Z2 Go was going to do from there. But honestly, I just think I'm going to have trouble really recommending any of these three devices right here, considering. And this one right here is probably the one, the Z1 Extreme SteamOS model, that I'm going to pre-order, get here and check it out on the channel. But we'll see how that works out. So anyways, guys, as always, thanks a lot for coming to check out the video. I really appreciate it, and I'll see you in the next one.